seats so we can begin the program. Good evening and welcome to the 6th Annual Patrick Mannelly Award Dinner. Please be advised this evening's program is being live streamed and recorded for future viewings. Please welcome Kristen Daniels, Executive Director of Bernie's Book Bank.
Good evening. My name is Kristen Daniels, and I am the Executive Director here at Bernie's Book Bank. On behalf of our team and the children that we serve, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all tonight to the 2024 Patrick Mannelly Award. Since 2019, the Patrick Mannelly Award has been presented to the overall best long snapper at the Division I level. We are thrilled to recognize the exceptional talents of this year's nominees, and later this evening, to name a winner. As literacy advocates, we at Bernie's Book Bank value the power of words. In football, the position of long snapper is often understated, but always crucial. Describing this role, we highlight a few key words: dedicated, consistent, efficient, and precise. These traits embody the commitment and skill required to execute a successful snap, playing a pivotal role in the success of the team. It's an honor to be the beneficiary of this prestigious award and to celebrate with everyone tonight. While we may not play on a football field, we like to think of ourselves as the long snappers in the world of children's literacy. No successful field goal, extra point, or punt can happen without the dependable execution of a long snap, and likewise, no child can learn to read without books. We are a quiet but critical piece of the puzzle, much like our long snapping friends. At Bernie's Book Bank, we are dedicated to increasing children's book ownership through an efficient, scalable process that consistently delivers free quality books to local children, creating pathways to their success. Since 2009, Bernie's Book Bank has sourced, processed, and distributed 28 million books to children across Chicagoland. A special shout out to our finalists and founders who yesterday witnessed the joy and power of reading firsthand as we distributed books to Youngman's STEM Magnet School in Chicago. I think it was about halfway through yesterday's school visit that I leaned over to Brian and said, "Are you sure that we don't need a book bank in Georgia or Florida or Michigan?" These guys were that good. Long after their playing days are over, they have gifts to share with the world. I cannot say enough nice things about this year's finalists and the impact that they had on the students yesterday. It was pure joy. You guys really are the best of the best. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank our generous sponsors. Our presenting sponsors this evening, Zebra Technologies and Edward Jones. Our integrity sponsor is Anonymous. Our effectiveness sponsor, William Blair. Our teamwork sponsors, the Chicago Bears, right? Elvira and Jay Mannelly, the Eisminger family. Our sportsmanship sponsors, Connection, Continental Electrical Construction Company, IT Supplies, Kelso Burnett, and our technology sponsor, Notified. I would also like to thank our strategic partners, AbbVie, KPMG, Reed Construction, and Zebra Technologies. Thank you also to Catering by Michaels for the wonderful food and service this evening. I'd like to take a moment now to highlight our two presenting sponsors. Our friends at Zebra Technologies have been a proud strategic partner of Bernie's Book Bank for the past 6 years. We leverage a Zebra Technologies solution to improve our volunteer experience by making it easier and more efficient to level the countless number of books that come through our doors. Ultimately, this allows for even more books to make it into the hands of the children that need them most. Zebra, in turn, hosts meetings and team-building events here at the Book Bank, which showcase their amazing technology and also allows them to live out their value of making a positive impact in the community. Zebra has deep roots in the world of football as the NFL's official real-time location solutions provider since 2015. As such, presenting the Patrick Mannelly Award Dinner was a natural decision. Zebra Technologies is proud to support both the NFL and the children in our community with game-changing innovation and to honor college long snappers for their great achievements. Thank you, Zebra Technologies, for your partnership. And now I would like to welcome Billy Hirth from our newest presenting sponsor, Edward Jones, to say a few words.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Billy Hirth, and I'm a financial advisor with Edward Jones in Bolingbrook. And I'm proud to represent my 23 colleagues here with me tonight, along with 1,000 Chicagoland associates and 54,000 Edward Jones associates throughout the North America. First, congratulations to the Patrick Mannelly Award finalist. Your dedication and commitment to excellence to your craft is admirable. I also applaud the support network that you have of your family, your friends, your teammates, and your coaches that have helped you get to this point today. I would also like to thank Zebra Technologies for allowing me to share the stage with them in this presenting sponsorship recognition with such a great organization. I salute the innovative work that Zebra does with empowering not only your customers, but your community as well, and in particular here with Bernie's. Edward Jones is thrilled to partner with Bernie's Book Bank and support the Patrick Mannelly Award. We think this is a great fit For 102 years, we've been a purpose-driven firm. We believe that every person deserves the opportunity to thrive regardless of where you start. That is why we invest to lift all people and communities, including the underserved, by equipping more people to build the future they want. Access is the key to advancement. The work that the Bernie's team of getting books in the hands of kids who might otherwise not have the access to reading material is impactful. Improving literacy growth sets the foundation for success, and those successful students are primed to become future Edward Jones clients and/or associates as well. Then I think about the long snapper position. I think about a highly focused, dedicated teammate that isn't seeking the spotlight. It's a person that looks to support their team by delivering a high-pressure environment, and I see the parallel to the Edward Jones branch team. We want to deliver the best results to our clients and our client family team. And we love helping our families accomplish their needs, their wants, and their wishes through financial planning and wealth management strategies that are individualized to each client and situation. Thank you to Kristen and the Bernie's Book Bank team, Patrick Mannelly, and for all of you for supporting the mission that we're here for today. Have a great evening.
And now, we'd like to welcome Patrick Mannelly, considered one of the NFL's best long snappers, highlighted by his 16-year career spent exclusively with the Chicago Bears from 1998 to 2013. Patrick set franchise records for most seasons and games played. He helped the Bears win 4 division championships and 1 NFC title. Patrick currently serves as a football analyst for 670 The Score. Patrick also serves on the Bernie's Book Bank Board of Directors.
It's amazing. This is year 6. Kevin Gold, Chris Rubio, doesn't get started without you. So I'll give you a little backstory of how this came about. Those 2 guys are the real founders of this award. They called me, maybe it was early 2019, late 2018, and they said, listen, long snappers need an award. They should be on the same level as a kicker, punter, running back, quarterback, linebacker, lineman, whatever it is, and it's a fact. Coach Braun is here from Northwestern. Can't wait to have you up here later. You guys believe it. It's a true position. In the NFL now, 32 guys have that as a job. When I first came in, I was a lineman that kind of tried to learn how to long snap. But now it's a true position. And I'm honored to have you guys here. We'll talk to you about later, but honored to have the long snappers here because it is a true position and they need to be rewarded, acknowledged, and compete. And that's the fun thing too, guys. You guys get to compete against each other for this award. So super excited to have everybody here. And Chris, Kevin, this isn't happening without you guys. To follow up on that is, we had a long conversation about getting this done. And if you know me, I don't know. They said, listen, we got done with the conversation, said, listen, we're gonna call it the Mannelly Award. And I was humbled to have that. And also excited to have my name on this, to work with you guys, to get to where we are now. And we're gonna take it another step later in the future, but we'll talk about that, or you'll see that later. But it's been amazing the last 6 years. Here, guys, we have 4 NFL long snappers that have been finalists for this award. We have Liam McCullough for the Falcons, Alex Ward for the Rams, Chris Stoll for the Seahawks, Cal Adamitis for the Bengals. And the 3 finalists we have here have the same opportunity. And it's just kind of neat that we have built this award and rewarded the right guys who are the best at their craft. Later on during dinner, we're gonna have a great time here. We got my old teammate, Robbie Gold. The head coach of the Northwestern Wildcats, Coach Braun. And my current teammate at 670 The Score, Lawrence Holmes, will be hosting this and emceeing it. He is fantastic, you're gonna love him. So we'll get to them later, but guys, we're here for a reason. When you walked in here, you saw the 3 guys' faces and names over on the board. And I'd like you guys to stand up so we can be recognized when I announce you. We'll go one by one. We'll go, Bo, can you please stand up? Bo Gardner from the University of Georgia. Just stay seated. William Wagner from University of Michigan. And Rocco Underwood from the University of Florida. Just stay standing for a second, guys. And we have a great partnership here with Bernie's Book Bank, and I want to thank everybody at Bernie's Book Bank, because if we don't have you guys, this doesn't happen. Brian, Kristen, the entire team, thank you very much. Well, yesterday was a special day, right? Guys, yesterday was a special day. We got to do a book distribution down on the south side of the city of Chicago, as Kristen talked about. And just to let you know, guys, it's great that the education at all your 3 universities, you can actually read at a 3rd grade level. It was pretty impressive when you read the books to the kindergartners, 1st graders, and 3rd graders. Sit down, guys. That's awesome. This is about them tonight, guys. And I'm excited to have this again for the 6th year. I'm excited to find out who the winner is. And people have asked me, do you know who the winner is? I did know the first couple years. I don't like to know anymore. Because some of the moms look at you a little different. The dads look at you a little different. So I have no idea. So I'm just excited as everybody else to find out who wins. But again, thank you for coming out tonight. It means a lot. And excited for you guys and for the rest of the presentation. We're going to take a little time out now. We're going to have a little dinner. And then Lawrence, you do your thing.
Please welcome Lawrence Holmes from 670 The Score.
Thank you guys so much for having me here. I have been boring everyone at my table with stories about football. I hope that Coach Braun, now, he's got a better understanding of some history of the city, even though he's a Lake Forest guy. We got to talk more about that, because I could see your ears perked. I was telling him about the history of the University of Chicago football. The first Heisman Trophy that had ever been won was won at the University of Chicago. I think at least one of our finalists will find this interesting, that Hail to the Victor was actually a song written about the University of Chicago and not some other school. So anyway, we've been having a good time talking about all of this stuff. I'm really excited to be here. I'm honored, Patrick, that you would think of me to be here. And we've been having a good conversation about the importance of books. When I'm not on the air, I am in a classroom working at my alma mater, DePaul University. My first alma mater, Roll Tide, my second alma mater. But I was talking about how my students, most of them now, this group that I have now, most of them have never been gifted books. And that's now something that I am putting into my curriculum. And it's one of the things that Patrick and I ended up talking about one night, which is why I'm really honored that he would think of me to be a part of anything that's going on with Bernie's Book Bank, because of all of the wonderful things that they continue to do for students who need this. And you need books to open up your imagination. So I'm thrilled to be a part of this. So now I can stop talking and have more interesting people talk. I am so excited to get an opportunity to interview this guy, because now he can't run away from me. But Robbie Gould is one of the greatest kickers to ever play in the NFL. When he retired, he was the 10th all-time leading scorer in league history. I'm used to covering practices, and I always thought it was interesting. One of the reasons I know Patrick is that I would spend a lot of time watching Patrick and Brad Maynard and Robbie Gould, and watching the precision of their operation. Patrick being so good at long snapping that Brad could catch and set the ball with one hand. That's how good that guy was. And I know that meant a lot to Robbie too, because if you don't have a great long snapper, then you don't have trust, and you can't make your kicks, and you can't end up being the 10th all-time leading scorer in NFL history upon your retirement. He's an all-pro, he's a Pro Bowler, he's one of Chicago's favorite sons. Ladies and gentlemen, Robbie Gould.
Thanks for that intro.
I've really enjoyed, I didn't know David Braun until a few minutes ago, and I've really already enjoyed talking to him. I dig football coaches, and I like talking to them about stuff. And the fact that he I gave an idea for a book, and he was like, what was the name of that book? Because every football coach is always trying to get an edge, and I love that. David Braun is the head coach of Northwestern University. He is the 2023 Big Ten Coach of the Year. Lake Forest owns David Braun. All right, so we're gonna have a little chat, and I'm glad that we got these two guys here. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Robbie's also now the head coach at St. Viator High School. After having a really successful year at Rolling Meadows where his team made the playoffs. So it's pretty cool. So I wanted to kind of start there, because I got a coach and I got a coach.
Well, what I want to know is, as a high school coach, I don't have time to read a book. Coach, you got to tell me I'm doing something wrong. I'm chasing 3 kids. I don't have time to read a book right now.
Not right now?
Hopefully in July.
There you go.
There you go. Before camp, get stuff done. I'd love to know, Robbie, especially now that you've had this experience, what thing did you learn as a player that you maybe didn't get until you started coaching?
Well, I definitely know that I drove a lot of my coaches crazy. There is no doubt about it. Just the type A personality that I have. I mean, listen, I walked into a great situation. I had Brad Maynard and Pat, who both of those guys were in their 6th or 7th year. They had families. I mean, Pat had his daughter on Christmas Eve, I believe. We're going to Green Bay. And he came up with the doctors on game day. So, like, I got to watch how they interacted with their families. I was a young single guy living in the city, just trying to find a way to be a professional and understand how the game worked and what it meant to lift and be in an ice tub. And my career would have taken a totally different trajectory had I not had both of those guys. So I think it was just a matter of the group that we had here early on in my career with Urlacher, Olin Krug, Charles Tillman. There was such a desire for playing the game. There was such a desire for playing for each other that when you go somewhere and that doesn't exist, I would always get pissed. I'm like, what do you mean you can't get up in the morning and go lift? What do you mean you can't sit in the ice tub? Like, you have to do this for 17 weeks, you know? And then hopefully that's when the fun starts. You get in the playoffs and that's when, like, you're literally every play mattered. And to me, I just hated the fact that it was, if a guy didn't park in the right parking spot, I just felt that moved over into the actual game itself. Because if you can't park in the same spot, and I'm sure you see this with the kids, well, they weren't getting in the playbook. They weren't watching film. And that's when film, you had to sit. I remember the old lineman would have food ordered into the Hallis Hall because you had to watch it in the actual building. Now kids have iPads, and all you got to do is push play and be able to watch it. So I think the biggest part for me is just learning how to have more patience with the younger group of kids, because they don't know what they don't know.
What's something that you hope that your players take away from you?
Discipline. I think I built my culture on education first. You talk about books and learning. You know, in an age where now, like Northwestern, you have to have a certain grade point average in order to get there. Georgia, maybe not so much, Bo. Huh? I'm just saying. It's Florida. It's Florida. The Big Ten has higher standards. As a Penn Stater myself, Michigan, Northwestern, you know, we have higher GPAs and SAT scores that we have to get. But I think it's just letting them understand that at some point, and this goes for you guys too, like your sports, your athletic careers are going to end, you know, and your education is going to take you so much further down the road. I was lucky enough to have an 18-year career, but it was because of guys like Patrick that allowed me to learn how to be a pro and how to take care of myself, to have a long career. And to me, that's always the most important thing.
Coach, what about you? When it comes to, obviously there's the football part of it, right? Like you want your players to learn the game, learn it the way you want it to be coached. What are the other things you're hoping that someone who leaves Northwestern's program walks away with?
You know, the two non-negotiables for us are making sure that the young men that come through our program, you know, are prepared for life. And I think that's why I love the game of football so much. It's such an incredible tool for young people to grow into the best versions of themselves, to understand teamwork, to understand a certain level of sacrifice, discipline, all the things that come along with it. And then secondly, like things of substance, you know, a true brotherhood, true friendships, relationships that are life-lasting. It can be really easy, especially, you know, early in my career, I was coaching at the NAIA level, Division II, FCS level, played Division II football. And, you know, as you work your way up and you're coaching at a higher level, there's more money involved, there's more media involved, level of stress comes into play. People that, you know, have a say within the program from outside influences, it can become overwhelming. And, you know, one of the greatest things that, you know, I was able to go through, especially last year, is in all the chaos, it was an opportunity for me and my wife to sit down and really take a deep breath and say, why do we do this? Why have we gone on this journey? Especially in a situation where I'm an interim head coach, have no idea what the next, you know, not just the next 6 years, you know, what does this look like 6 weeks from now for our family who had just moved here? At the end of the day, winning is important, but there are certain things that you will never sacrifice to win. And the reason Kristen and I do this is because we know that the game of football is an incredible vehicle to pour into young people and help them reach heights that they didn't even know that they could reach. And those are the two things we want young men walking out of our program with, feeling like they have been pushed and are prepared for life after football, whenever that ends, whether that's after Northwestern or after their NFL career. And then secondly, relationships of substance that will be life-lasting, that they feel like coming back in on Northwestern's campus for homecoming, to practices, when they're going through a hard time in life down the road, that they have, a brotherhood and relationships that they can lean on.
I'm sure that you have players that have come into the program and they were probably the man at their high school, but you're going to ask them to play special teams. What are those conversations like, and why is it important that players be willing to play special teams?
Yeah, I was so fortunate. At the time, I didn't think I was so fortunate, but it was the 2018 season. I was working at University of Northern Iowa. Mark Farley's the head coach. Mark, very successful head coach, but had a unique way of, going about his role, and pulled me in his office. It was July 22nd. Said, Dave, I want you to coordinate all our special teams. I mean, we're a week out from camp. And I looked at him like, Coach, you realize I have no special teams experience, correct? He's like, I know, Dave, but you're a good teacher, and I want someone to take over all of it, to really take this and own it. And I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, they have Google, so it's perfect.
Correct.
Shield punt, got it. Yep, we're gonna line up here, guys.
Here we go.
Yeah, right.
Correct. But what it helped me understand is the value of a young man that truly cares about his football team, and the effort and energy and intention that he'll put into the preparation on special teams is a direct reflection of how he truly cares about his team. And my favorite meeting of every single year of every program I've been a part of has been that first special teams meeting. And now as the head coach, it's an opportunity for me to have a platform to really voice to our guys how much it means. It doesn't matter if you're a returning All-American, future first-round NFL draft pick, or a walk-on freshman. The effort and intention that you put into your special teams work is a direct reflection of how much you care about this team. In the ultimate team game, your special teams effort and intention, we're at an event celebrating long snappers. I'll tell you what, like the work that those guys put in daily at practice that goes unrecognized, it's incredible.
And the work that you guys aren't doing. I'm sure the video games and the candy games that you guys are throwing the football around, yeah, those are fun too.
No doubt.
Robbie, it always amazed me that you guys had a coach in Lovey that didn't just, like, there are a lot of coaches who are like, oh yeah, we're a three-phase team. That was legit for Lovey. Like, he truly cared about it. And having Dave Toub as, especially who's, I think should be a head coaching candidate, but that's another story for another day. What did it mean to you to know that the coaching staff felt that it was important that specialists were a part of this?
Well, I think that's a very sore subject if you're a Bears fan lately. So, coming into a place where they had hired the right people, they built a culture, you build a team a certain way, you try to do things a certain way. You drafted guys like Devin Hester, you got guys in free agency like Brendan Iambadejo, Israel Donajay, Adrian Peterson. Like, you built guys that could play not only offense and defense, but they could legitimately play special teams. And we had 8 core guys. I mean, really, incredible. If you really look at the Hall of Fame, I love Ray Guy. Ray Guy is one of my favorites of all time. When Ray Guy accepted his award, he's like, hey, we finally have an entire football team in the National Football League, which isn't true, because there isn't one long snapper in the Hall of Fame. And I can tell you this, and I'm not saying this because I was a teammate of his. This award being named after Patrick, there will come a time where this event will be bigger. It'll be on national TV, I'm sure. There'll be a time when there's going to be long snappers in the Hall of Fame. We just have to get people to understand that, like Lovie Smith, special teams is literally the difference between winning a conference title, making a different bowl game for money. I mean, look at the national championship games. Look at the Super Bowls. You know, an extra point last year cost San Francisco a ring. Mine was a 3rd and 16 against the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, but who's counting, you know? But I think it's just unique because not every team, even the NFL, does that. So I think if you look at the successful programs that have stability at any level, it starts with special teams, and those guys bind into their roles and responsibilities.
100%. Yeah, it's a key factor in games, and I think it's like hidden. It's almost like hidden yardage, almost. You know, where people don't understand that if you don't know the long snapper's name, that's good.
Yeah, but
and then at the end of it, you know, end of the career, you go, oh yeah, Patrick Mannelly was really awesome.
Yeah, I'll tell you really two quick stories. First, let's start with Devin Hester, right? Devin Hester, in my opinion, should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Agreed.
But everyone's like, well, he only had 14 touchdowns. I'm like, yeah, but you're evaluating him at a position where no one did what he did. Correct. And then when you go and you want to talk about what did he do in the National Football League, end-over-end punting never existed until Devin Hester showed up. People would say, hey, we're gonna let you punt 35 yards because our defense is better than your offense. And I always told people when his time was up, you know, what he did to the game is you see all these Aussie punters now punting in the National Football League. Now you see all these kids in college doing it. But really the hidden yardage of what you're talking about is when they punt it out of bounds directionally, which doesn't happen as much anymore in the NFL, but when they punt out of bounds and it's 30 yards, that's a 10-yard swing. Well, if you have 6 punts, that's 60 yards. And to me, I think that goes very underrated for a guy like Devin Hester. Earlier, you were talking about Pat and Brad Maynard doing the one-handed hold. I was a young kid getting ready to hit a game winner against the Green Bay Packers, and my whole routine was if we called a timeout, we were snapping it, kicking it, so I'd get a chance to see the wind. So we got a chance, they called a timeout, snap, hold, kick, whatever. We all would go over to the sideline, and usually Pat would grab a ball, they would snap down the side, and I would go to the net, kick a few, and I'm running out, and all I see is Brad go like this. I go, hey, you're not gonna hold it like that, are you? Because I had not seen him really do that a ton, and they were just over there, it's 10 degrees, they're just doing this. I'm like, you're gonna go both hands, right? Like, so that just tells you how like good those guys were, but like how catchable the ball is, how precise the laces were, and what went into that. You know, I think it's such a hidden art, you know, kicking and punting and long snapping. People think that they show up for 5 plays a game, which they do, but the reality is that is the difference in such a coach's job, and you know, what the difference in where an NFL franchise heads, left hash or right hash.
Mm-hmm. It matters. Robbie, for Bears fans who are probably wondering, because, you know, it's been a minute, what's it like to beat the Packers?
Well, in San Francisco, too soon? Yeah, you know, it's crazy. Like I retired a year ago, right around this time, and when I was in free agency, I got a call from the Green Bay Packers. Hey, would you like to play for us? And I looked at my wife. I'm like, there's no way I can do that. She's like, I know, but she's like, you know, maybe it'd be kind of nice. Jim McMahon did it. I'm like, honey, there is no way I can play for the Green Bay Packers. But I will say this, I think Lambeau is by far one of the best venues to play in. I think the history, the nostalgia of what they do, you can see kind of the stability they've had. Now, granted, they've been lucky because they have a 3-year process, and then that guy stays there for 15 years. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and now Jordan Love. But anytime you get to beat the Green Bay Packers, there's a little cherry on the top. We beat them in San Francisco in the playoffs at their place. I had not played in a game like that in like 6 years. It was 0 degrees. I'm like, oh, I spent 11 years in Chicago, and now I'm 45 degrees and warmer in San Francisco. I'm like, what is this? I didn't sign up for this, you know?
It was nice to, in that moment, to see you and Kittle, like, celebrate extra because
yeah,
Kittle's
Jimmy
like a crazy
Garoppolo.
Bears fan.
Yeah, well, okay, so we get back on the bus, all right? We just got done. We didn't score one offensive touchdown, really, because we blocked a punt. We had 2 field goals. Aaron and those guys were the top seed. They were supposed to just run the table against us. And they did a little bit. They just couldn't score in the red zone. Anyways, we get done. We're celebrating. We got to go 4.5 hours back to San Francisco. And George, he's always got some T-shirt or something. He's just an all-time great dude, but always doing something outlandish. So he comes on the bus, and he's got this FedEx envelope. I'm like, dude, what the heck is in that envelope? He goes, oh, you know, we just beat the Packers, but I actually bought stock, and I was going to go into my press conference and be like, hey, I got part ownership in the Green Bay Packers. So I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. So that night I went in and actually bought each one of my kids a $500 stock in Green Bay Packers shares. So if they don't win, at least they have that they have a share of beating them in some capacities.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of venues, Green Bay, you're right. Green Bay is a really awesome place to watch a game. Coach, that temporary stadium that you guys got in Evanston has become like one of the biggest stories in college football this year. It is so picturesque. And I know that you guys are building bigger and better for Northwestern football. But what's that experience been like for you guys to kind of have this really dope place for kids to play at?
Yeah, it's been great for our campus community as a whole, for our players. The thought of, you know, it's fun to talk about what we are moving into in 2026, but at the end of the day, there was a group of juniors and seniors that were going to be playing their last 2 years, traveling around to different venues around Chicago and not truly having any home games. And, you know, positive momentum coming off of 2023. We've seen what's happened with basketball and Welsh Ryan with the student engagement and the environment that's been created there. And we just felt like it was really critical that we find a way to foster that and keep momentum building. And, you know, in the 2025 season, we're gonna have to find a way to get a lot more wins at the lakefront. And we look forward to doing that. But the venue that it's created, the experience that it's created has been really special. And, you know, we got one more year of it, and, you know, you'll probably never see anything like it in college football again. So it's been fun.
And on top of that, you guys have also had the opportunity to play at Wrigley.
Yeah.
What's that been like?
Again, we need to find some more wins at Wrigley. But, you know, when you're playing Big Ten football at Wrigley Field, it's a really special opportunity. It's a memory that our guys will never forget. You know, I know when I took the defensive coordinator job here a couple years ago and saw that Iowa game at Wrigley Field, that was something that stood out to me. This is an opportunity for an incredible experience. And the job that the Cubs have done in terms of morphing that into just such a great venue for college football has been really neat.
I'm going to ask you both this question. Coach, I'm going to start with you. How has football changed your life?
I wouldn't be the man that I am today without the game of football. You know, I was fortunate to, you know, have an incredible mom and dad, but, you know, I grew up playing a lot of different sports. But football has taught me so many life lessons. And the relationships that I have through the game of football, whether it be guys that I played with, people that I've coached with, or the men that, you know, I've had an opportunity to coach. The thing that's really special for Kristen and I, especially being in a location like Chicago, the amount of former players that come back over the course of the season to watch us play, they're over at our house post-game, the relationship they're starting to form with our kids. You know, it's overused and it's cliche, but it's true. You know, football is family. When it's done right, the relationships you build through the game of football truly turn into family, and it's really shaped who I am and shaped who we are as a family.
Robbie?
I think a lot of it, too, is like I played for Joe Paterno. So if we had an 8 a.m. meeting, it started at 7:50. And if you showed up at 7:51, you were late, but the meeting was supposed to be at 8 on the itinerary. But that's just how Joe operated. So it's kind of unique to see how the game teaches you the lessons that you need to be successful in life. You know, you're talking about time management. You're talking about being selfless, being a part of something that's bigger than yourself. You know, operating in a way that's representing yourself not only on the field but off the field, and then being proud of that person that you are, but also the institutions that you are a part of. I mean, these guys are going to leave 3 unbelievable places to play, and always have, no matter where they go. I mean, you're going to go to downtown San Francisco for you guys, and there's going to be some Georgia bar that they're always going to want to watch a game. You know what I mean? Like, it's just unique to see how everybody bonds over athletics. Quick story, obviously I just took a new job at St. Viator this Tuesday. It's kind of been a whirlwind for me. But you talk about the bonds. My kids are 11, 9, and 6. And I try to explain to my kids before they go to school, hey, Dad's not going to be at Rolling Meadows anymore. And all 3 of my kids started bawling at 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, well, son of a gun, This is not how I envisioned this to go. But you talk about the impact that people can have on your life, whether it's a coach, whether it's a teammate. I mean, I had a teammate of mine from college show up. I hadn't seen him in 17 years at Rolling Meadows, just to be like, dude, I'm in the area. How are you? And that's what I think it's unique about the sport, but also kind of where you go and how you play and the people you play with.
I want to talk about your journey to this, because we look back at it now and we go 18 years, all pro, you kicked in some important games, all of these things. But there was a time where you were just trying to make a roster. And our finalists, that might be what happens with them next year or beyond. What was that like, and what advice can you give?
Well, I wasn't as athletic and as big as Patrick Mannelly get drafted as an offensive lineman. So I had to take a little bit of a different pathway. I didn't have a great year my senior year at Penn State, but I remember it was actually, we played, I think, Northwestern. And I came out of the locker room, I'm like, well, Dad, this was great. It was such a fun experience. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to play at the NFL. My dad's like, well, here's the thing. You have all spring, go do great at your pro day, and eventually you got a shot. So eventually, you do the pro days, then the draft comes around. I knew I wasn't gonna get drafted. In the 5th round, the Detroit Lions calls that, hey, we'd love to have you. In the 6th round, Pittsburgh calls, hey, we'd love to have you. In the 7th round, I knew Detroit and Pittsburgh were kind of in the mix. Brad Seeley from the New England Patriots called me like, hey, we'd love for you to join me. And now that was my favorite team growing up. Like, I loved them because my brother loved the Dolphins. They were really bad. I loved the underdog story. And I knew that for me, it was going to have to go to a place where I'd have to want to compete, but I also knew that I had to go to the right place where teams are going to look to pluck players from. So I went to New England instead of Pittsburgh or Detroit. Even though Adam Vinatieri was there, I learned from him first. And then I learned from Coach Belichick about situational football. I mean, he would call anybody out in the meeting. It didn't matter who it was. Hey, what do we do in 2 minutes in this situation? I remember getting done. I was only going to play 2 games. I'm sitting in my locker. I got my bag all packed up. I'm like, all right, where's the Grim Reaper? He's going to cut me. Never came. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, he told me I was going to get 2 games. Like, let me get on my way. So I ended up getting play the 3rd game. Same thing, bag ready to go. Nothing happened. And then the day before the 4th game, I got cut in New England. Went to Baltimore, and then eventually I hung up on Robin Wilkie here in Chicago 3 times at my construction job because I couldn't really find a real job. Say, hey, I'm going to leave in a week. And I think it's just a matter of patience. For our specialists, there's only 32 positions in the NFL. Now, kickers are on the practice squad. It's kind of a new wave because they have 16 guys. But like for you guys, it might take a little bit to get in, and that's okay. But usually whenever you get that opportunity, you got to take advantage of it. I remember competing against Steve Christie and Martin Gramatica, and I didn't care who I competed against. Like, I just got done competing against Adam Vinatieri. Like, let's go. Like, that was just my mentality. But I always knew that I had to go, and I had to show up, and I had to perform. And then we get to playing with these guys, and every day was like, how many in a row can we make? And I remember Pat, if I missed, these guys would try to talk to him. I was like a baby for 30 seconds. And I always remember it. Pat's like walking by me. Hey, start a new streak, all right? And there just came one of these, and then we went on and did it again. But like, that's what it was about, And for me, it was just, I got lucky because I was in a really good place here. And then I went on to San Francisco, which was awesome, to be able to go on that run in the playoffs, playing another Super Bowl. But it is about patience, for sure.
Coach, any advice for these young men?
I think they just got some advice from, the best, in terms of what that looks to navigate as you transition into your NFL pursuits. The only advice I'd share is, continue to stay true to yourself. You guys have reached the highest levels of college football in your position. You have so much to be proud of, and you being true to yourself is what's gotten you here. Don't allow that to change as you transition to the next opportunity for you in the NFL.
I've been a part of this award since its inception, I believe. I've been sitting on the panel voting. I was telling Patrick earlier. The three of you guys, it was by far the hardest year I've ever had to try and vote or pick a guy. Usually the guys are really good at snapping and they're really good at doing certain things, but there's differentiators on how you move and your zones and your locations. And usually what it ends up coming down to is whose laces are the best, who has the 12 o'clock laces. And in a young age doesn't happen. You guys, all three of you, I told Patrick this tonight, all three of you have a chance to play in the National Football League. And you have a bright future. It's just a matter of being patient and staying patient. And if you get drafted, great. But just because you get drafted doesn't mean you make the team. As weird as that sounds. Every day you have to earn your keep, just like you have to do in college, like at your universities. Every day you have to study. Every day you have to be prepared, taking notes. I remember working out with the O-linemen, and everyone's looking at me like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, if it's good for them, it's good for me. Let's go, And I think it's just being a pro and learn how to be a pro and watching the guys in your locker room.
Okay, so one of the biggest stories that happened this week was your former coach now becoming a college coach. Bill Belichick is now the head coach at North Carolina. Did you ever think that would be a thing?
Well, I'm going to toss this because I do think that there's something to this. I'm going to toss this to Coach first because I think in order for us to talk about Bill becoming a college coach, we have to first talk about NIL money.
Yeah.
North Carolina is a really good institution. Obviously, it's been a basketball school for a really long time. They went from the oldest coach to the oldest coach. And
an older coach.
In college football right now. But I do think that the wave of NIL is changing the landscape dramatically. And I know, Coach, you can talk about that in a minute. But I think, now for Bill, it's, they can get kids in and get them in the NFL. And Bill has a really good rapport with, obviously, a lot of the NFL teams and coaches that he can now tell the guys, hey, take this kid because he fits your scheme. Hey, take this guy because he, and that's what Bill was really good at when he talked to college coaches and going in and recruiting kids to get ready for the draft. I remember we were in the Pro Bowl in '06, and Bill had just lost an AFC championship to the Colts. And we're in Hawaii, and his staff met on personnel the entire time and didn't even get to enjoy Hawaii. And that's just like how nuts Bill was. So that attention to detail for these kids is going to be huge because I think that's a differentiator for them getting drafted in the rounds they will, because they'll already be prepared with situational football, more so than I think some other programs might be. But I do think the NIL landscape's changed a lot for kids and how that will help Bill dramatically.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited for, where college football can be a year from now. The reality of what we're navigating as we sit here today is it's chaos. And, I think it's great that student athletes are having an opportunity to, benefit financially with as much money as there's involved, especially with these TV contracts. But there's no guardrails on it right now. And the reality is in chaos, there's opportunity. And, I think North Carolina, in chaos, saw an opportunity to bring someone in that truly understands what it looks like to model something, like a NFL team. And the reality is at Northwestern, we're first going to evaluate our non-negotiables and our values that we're going to stay true to, and we're going to make sure that we stay true to those values. But I've told our staff multiple times over the course of the last 2 weeks is, we're going to have to check our egos at the door. We're going to have to reimagine all of this, and it may involve some different job responsibilities and different job titles. And, myself as the head coach, I need to really evaluate how I need to structure things for myself to make sure I'm serving the program best. But, college football is not it has been completely flipped on its head. And if we think that it's going to operate in any way, shape, or form like it has for the last, even the last 5 years, it's just not the case. And a credit to North Carolina for saying, you know what? This guy's going to have a plan how to navigate this new landscape. And the fun challenge for us at Northwestern is to say, we believe in the people that we have in the building, but how do we need to structure this moving forward to best serve our program, best serve our student athletes, and put a product on the field we're all really proud of, while also still valuing the things that are true to Northwestern, and that's making sure that young men walk out of Northwestern with their degree, and build things of substance that people will take with them for a lifetime once they get done with their experience.
It's kind of amazing, like hearing that programs that now there's a general manager, for example, inside of a college football program, but quite honestly, you need it.
Yep.
Like how have you seen already, like the structure of putting a staff together, and maybe positions that you weren't thinking about 5 years ago have to be a part of what you do going forward?
It's totally different. I'll leave this great event tonight and head straight over to Sophia's Steak in Wilmette for, I believe, my 8th dinner at Sophia this week for another recruiting visit.
You need a guy to help you with that?
Hey, come on, let's go.
Yeah, let me go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
What's going on with transfer recruiting and everything else. I've talked to more agents, nothing against agents. I know there's some in the room. But I've talked to more agents in the last 5 days than I have in my entire career, my entire life. The people that are involved in this entire process, and there's nothing wrong with it. You can either complain about it or you can adapt, and that's what we're working to do. But what I look forward to is when we have an infrastructure in place, and this should happen in short order, where it truly is, high school scouting, college scouting, and personnel and recruiting that really all fall under the leadership of a general manager that handles contract negotiations, contract law, cap management, and allow our coaches to simply worry about coaching and investing in the young men that they're working with.
I do believe, to that point, I think it's not going to be just one guy. I think you're going to end up having an exact, and I think that's why UNC took the opportunity to go the Bill Belichick model, because he's going to say, hey, here's a general manager, here's a director of college scouting, here's a director of high school scouting, and they might have 2 or 3 guys. They're going to have scouts underneath them, and then next thing you know, they're going to be able to model this entire college landscape in the NFL structure.
No doubt.
It's all really incredible, and the changes that we've seen have been incredible. One more thing for you guys. Why was it important for each of you to be here tonight?
For me, Brian and I had an opportunity to spend some time together back in September, and we have a very close mutual friend, and immediately was just drawn to who Brian is as a person. And we started talking about Bernie's books, and immediately I was like, what a great idea, and what a great mission. But what really resonated with me later that night, as I had a chance to just kind of sit on it a little bit, I have a 1-year-old at home, and me and my little girl, our thing is books. I walk in the door, and within 5 minutes of being in that door, that little girl's gonna have a book on my lap, ready to read. And she'll read with me for an hour straight if I let her. And what I didn't realize is how much I take that for granted, that we have books in our home, and our kids have always been exposed to books. And to have this realization that there's kids out there that don't have that luxury is something that just got me really excited to be a part of tonight, and hopefully be an active participant in everything that Bernie's Books is doing for a long, long time.
Well, first, it's Patrick. I mean, like I said, my family's entire landscape of what I've been able to do through 18 years wouldn't have been anywhere near. Pat, thanks, dude. I mean, I know we've talked a lot, but my family's life is completely different. I usually don't get emotional, but dude, it was awesome, man. My kids, just the things that they get to do, was all because of you. So, and Brad and my teammates. Secondly, to Coach's point, I remember I missed a field goal against the Detroit Lions, and my oldest son, Griffin, was probably like 2 years old at the time. And my wife, she would always come down to the city, and we were driving home, and I usually wouldn't talk a whole lot if I missed a game winner because it'd just bother me. And then I walk in the door, and Griffin was like, "Dad, come on, let's read a book." And you forget, like, there's more to life than just the game of football. But I think what's unique is, to your point, you know, we take it for granted, the things that we're capable of doing, and that's easy access for us. So, one, I love long snappers. I think your position is by far one of the most important in the game. It makes our job a lot easier. I think the uniqueness of the gentleman that's here that this award's named after is everything that you guys should want to strive to be. From the man he is, to the athlete he was, to the human being he is today and how he represents the game of football. And lastly, just the idea by which, you know, these awards, even the regular award show doesn't have a charity component to it. So it talks to you about the service and the acts and what really matters most in life to him. And Bernie's to be a part of that is pretty unique. So to all of you guys and everyone here, I know you guys had either put some money and time away from your families to come here to support this. So thank you guys for all your dedication. I think there's gonna be about $150,000 or more raised tonight, which is unique. And we'll keep adding that $20 million books that's been distributed. And I'm just trying to delay you guys from getting your award. I'm just telling you that. I just want you to be more uncomfortable, that's all. No, but thank you guys and for having us. It really means a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Braun, Robbie Gould.
Thanks.
That was awesome.
Good job.
Thank you.
Awesome job. Awesome job.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Please welcome Patrick Mannelly Award co-founders Kevin Gould and Chris Rubio.
Thanks, everybody, for being here. I cannot believe we've been doing this for 6 years. If you read my bio, you're going to see two critical things. You're going to see NFL agent, sorry, coach, and you're going to see attorney. And I've got 2 strikes against me, right? I appreciate you not booing, but usually when I say I'm an attorney and I'm an agent, I lose everybody. Recognizing that, about 7 years ago, I realized I had 2 strikes against me. I had to redeem myself. And the way I chose to redeem myself was working with Chris Rubio and creating this great award. And to hear, you know, it's surreal for me. I'm 5'6". I can barely grip a football, let alone snap one. To hear Patrick Mannelly thanking me for creating something is very surreal to me. I want to acknowledge him. I know in sports we talk about the GOAT, right? Whether it be Michael Jordan, whether it be Tom Brady. This is the gloat, right? The greatest long snapper of all time. So let's just refer to him properly. Yeah. That's the gloat. I say it every year. It never gets old. I also want to thank what an incredible partner that Bernie's Book Bank has been to the award. You know, as you know, there's all these different awards out there, but they don't have this critical charitable component. And I personally want to thank Christina Holt from Bernie's Book Bank. There she is. I guess the one way I am like a long snapper is I'm a perfectionist, and she puts up with all my emails and all my nonsense, so I appreciate your help in getting us to today. And one quick thing about all 3 finalists. They are incredible kids. I still call them kids, but they're really incredible men and people. One of the best parts of this weekend is the events we have on Friday. We spend a lot of time together in a van. We spent a lot of time together at Wrigley Field. We spent a lot of time at lunch. They had dinner with one of my clients, Patrick Scales of the Chicago Bears, who the Bears have a lot of issues. Pat Scales ain't one of them, but he was able to entail some of his experience to encourage these guys how to make it in the NFL. But of all those great things that we have, still every single year the most meaningful thing is to watch these snappers with the kids. We did K through 2. Then we did a special appearance in the 3rd grade class, and the way they reacted to the snappers and the way the snappers reacted to them is just incredible. It's something that I'll never forget. Shout out to KJ, one of the students in the 3rd grade. There you go. So I'll turn it over to Chris for his words.
Thank you. Welcome to everybody. I'm Chris Rubio. The big thing that I always like to talk about is how this award got started. I'm a long snapping instructor. I've actually taught all 3 of these kids. William, I just looked, I started with you in 2016. So I've known you a long, pretty much a third of your life, basically. Even the damn photographer, I taught him how to long snap. So, and so I've had 1,900 long snappers go to college in the NFL, and I'm very passionate about it. So this is a 3-headed monster, okay? I was watching ESPN, and they were talking about the kicker award, punter award. I don't even know what they're called. I don't care, sorry. And then they started talking about, they had this fictitious holder award. And they were talking about the greatest holder, and it was a joke, ha ha, waka, waka, waka. It fired me up. And I called Kevin, and I'm like cussing. I'm like, we got to fix this.
I'm like, what are you cussing at me for?
Yeah, I'm like, but we got to get this going. I can't stand it anymore. I pulled all my hair out, and we just went with it. And I said, who are we going to go to? And I said, Mannelly. It's got to be Mannelly. He's the best there is. There's no doubt about it. Let's do it. So we contacted him, and he's, I don't know. 24 hours later, he's like, let's do it, okay? So shout out to, you got the emotion here, you got the brains here, and you got, I guess the body here, okay? So that's how it works. Am I announcing all these kids' names now?
Yeah. So at this point, we're going to talk about the 65 honor roll. What that does is recognizes exemplary high school athletes across all of Chicago. These honorees that we're going to talk about have been nominated by their coaches or their ADs in some cases. That 65 honor roll is comprised of players who consistently demonstrate the following values: excellence, integrity, effectiveness, teamwork, and balance. Sounds a lot like a long snapper to me, but Rubio is going to announce, I think we have 5 names for this year, so we're going to invite them up after we announce your name.
They always give me this part because I struggle with reading the names, so if I butcher your name, I apologize. The 2024 65 honor roll winners are, give it up for Kendall Anderson. If they're here, come on up, Kendall. Give it up for Ryan Palmieri. Give it up for Olivia Tautges, I'm hoping. Give it up for Jack Trudelar.
Congratulations.
And give it up for Janiyah Wilkes. Jack gets extra points because he's also a long snapper.
There we go.
You got the foot?
Congratulations, guys. I think, Lawrence, you're up now. We get to like the meat of the show now, right? While we're here, like what I talked about. The guys that can read at a 3rd grade level, we get to talk about them now?
Remember, Bo went to UCLA as well, so he's
Oh, that's
great.
right.
Okay.
Please welcome back to the stage Lawrence Holmes.
All right, let's get to it. Let's meet these young men, and let's go through some of their accomplishments. Let's start with Bo Gardner. Bo Gardner was born and raised in San Francisco. He's a UCLA graduate transfer and became the Bulldogs' first semifinalist and finalist for the accolade in the award's 6-year existence. Gardner has snapped on Georgia's 69 combined field goal attempts and PATs, as well as each of the 42 punts for Georgia this year. Kicker Peyton Woodring has connected on 20 of 22 field goal attempts, including 3 of 50 or more yards. Bo has set punter Brett Thorson up for a 47.6 yards per average, as Thorson has forced 14 fair catches, dropped 22 inside the 20, and hit 18 that measured longer than 50 yards. Let's find out more about Bo Gardner.
Bo, congrats. It's pretty clear to see why you should be up for this award. Since day one, when Bo got here, he's just been perfection.
We were very lucky to get Bo in here last year. What an incredible family he comes from. What a great student he is.
He's done a great job of just embracing the team, embracing our core DNA traits.
Bo is honestly is actually the best snapper I have seen snapper football.
He's always working to be better. He's always working to improve his craft, his technique, his fundamentals.
It's made my job easier. I get to get back there and I don't have a single worry in the world. I see how hard he works every day.
I think it's undeniable that he's probably the best long snapper I've ever had the privilege of working with.
He jumped right in our team meetings and embraced the time with our players in our skull sessions, and he's been tremendous on the field as well. So a great honor to have a UGA snapper represent us as a finalist. He's the first we've ever had to do that. I'm hoping he gets it. Proud of you, Bo. Go Dogs.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Bo Gardner. Congratulations, Bo.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I sit down or?
Yeah, feel free. All right, let's get to know Rocco Underwood. Rocco Underwood, a native of Lake Mary, Florida, is entering his third season as the Gators' starting long snapper in his fourth year as a member of the program. Underwood has made 3 tackles this season, including holding a return to 0 yards, along with a fumble recovery in the regular season finale victory over Florida State. He is a 3-time SEC Academic Honor Roll member and cousins with former Gators and NFL specialists Johnny and Tommy Townsend. Meet Rocco Underwood.
First of all, Rocco's a product of his work. Just the consistency, the dependability. Rocco's a professional. I think just in general, his attitude towards his role.
Simply put, Rocco is one of the best snappers in the country. And I think what separates him is how dynamic he is. He's really an athlete. Not only does he snap the ball well with good accuracy and speed, we ask him to protect. And that's hard for a long snapper. So he's got the play strength to anchor and sustain in an A-gap, and then also the versatility and athleticism to be a factor in coverage.
You know, if you dig into his background, he was a great competitor as a high school player. And I think he still has that in him, you know, and I think that's one of the things that makes him unique.
Rocco embraces the physicality of football, and he brings it. It's a mindset that he has mental toughness that matches his physical toughness as well. He embraces contact, he enjoys it, he does it with a smile on his face, and he's about as hard at hitting the long snappers I've ever coached.
He can relate to the other players because he's played quite a bit of football in his career, so. Definitely great in coverage, and you know, I think it's contagious and it affects the rest of the team.
Rocco's a football player. Okay? He blends in very well in the locker room. He's a football player that just so happens to snap. He's an athlete. He has range. He has length. He has play strength. So physically, he blends right in. And then the person, Rocco is very unselfish. He's hardworking. He takes a lot of pride in his craft. He's a pleasure to coach. He's very coachable, and yeah, he's just awesome to be around.
You know, I mean, I think special teams are extremely important. Truly one of the best snappers that I've ever been around, and certainly one of the best in the country.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Rocco Underwood. Congratulations. Our final finalist, William Wagner, is an Alpharetta, Georgia native. William has been a part of 3 Big Ten championship teams and 1 national championship team. During his 52-game Michigan career, he has snapped for Lou Groza Award winner Jake Moody, semifinalist Dominic Zavada, and all Big Ten selections Brad Robbins, Tommy Doman, and James Turner. Wagner earned his mechanical engineering degree at Michigan and is now in pursuit of his master's degree in manufacturing mechanical engineering. Let's get to know William Wagner.
Wags is great, regardless of conditions. I know the snap's going to be there. He makes my job 100 times easier, really easy, because I know it's going to be there every time, regardless of, rain or snow or anything like that.
He's been money on the field every time we send him out. There's no worry that he's going to get the job done. He's a leader of our specialist room. He's been here the longest, and he's been the leader of the room, of a really good room this year.
He's perfect in what he does. He's also just a great person in general.
Ladies and gentlemen, William Wagner. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so now's the moment that we're all waiting for. Whew. All three of you have had unbelievable careers, and we are honored that you're here. The winner of the 2024 Patrick Mannelly Award, Rocco Underwood. Congratulations, Rocco. Please.
Does my mic still work?
Now, sorry I tore this.
Yeah, you're good. Thank you. Thanks for everyone being here. This is a great time. Me, Bo, and Will had a great time yesterday at Bernie's Book Bank and at the Wrigley Field. I got a couple people to thank. First off, I want to thank God for all the opportunities and ability to play the game I love. Next, I want to thank the Mannelly Award, Chris, Kevin Gold. Thank you for this opportunity and this event. Also, I just want to thank Rubio for helping me out all throughout high school, get me to where I want to be in life, and especially here at the University of Florida. I couldn't appreciate you anymore. Next, I want to thank my family. We'll go one by one. Start with my dad. Thank you, Dad, for just always teaching me, or being the backbone of our family and teaching me how to be a man and how to be successful in this game. Next, Mom. Thank you for teaching me how to treat others and always worrying about me and making sure I'm doing the right things in life. David, thank you for supporting me and always being there for me. Thank you for always holding me accountable and making sure I do the right things to stay in shape, especially when I'm home. I like to get a little lazy, but you get me right. Emily, for people who don't know, Emily also went to UF with me, and now she has a job down in Tampa. Thank you for always just being there for me and getting me everything I need to, especially with just regular household items or whatever that may need. So I don't have to worry about that. I can focus on football, so I appreciate you. And I just want to thank all you guys for the most love and support, coming to all my games, and teaching me and helping me become the man and player I am today. So I truly appreciate that. And lastly, as a snapper, as a lot of us know, we're really like the unsung heroes. A lot of people, we don't really get awards, so the only reason that people would know your name is if you mess up, so this is a cool award. It's really a dream come true. It is amazing to be up here with such great snappers, and Bo and Will, and I can't wait to watch you and Jeremy. I think Jeremy's out there watching. He actually just texted me. He'll be punting with you in the Reese's Senior Bowl game, so that'll be cool, and I can't wait to watch that. Can't wait to see what y'all do in the future, so thank you.
Hey, you're good. Thank you, guys. What do I gotta do now?
I'm just going to close it up. I just want to tell everybody thank you very much for being here. Lawrence, thank you for hosting this.
Thank you.
Thank you for our guests, Robbie Gould, Coach Braun of the Northwestern Wildcats. Thank you all for everything you've done here. And is Kristen, are you coming up to speak up here a little bit, I think? All right, I want to introduce Kristen. She's been, like again, I just want to say one more time, this doesn't happen without Bernie's Book Bank. So thank you very much. And the floor is yours, Kristen.
That was just incredible. Congratulations. We're so proud of you guys. Before we adjourn tonight, I'd like to once again thank my team here at the Book Bank, our presenting sponsors in Zebra and Edward Jones. I'd like to thank our finalists and their families, our panelists. I'd like to thank Patrick and the Patrick Mannelly Award founders. And most importantly, I haven't mentioned yet tonight, I want to thank our Bernie's Book Bank founder, Brian Floriani, and his amazing wife, Christy. Now I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. Brian and I have kind of a friendly competition about which one of us can give more tours or get more prospective partners into the building. So I would just like to say, Brian, all of these incredible guests tonight, they're counted on my side. And to my hundreds of new friends here tonight and all of you tuning in online, please take some time to get to know Bernie's Book Bank better. Because for as special as tonight's event has been, the work we do here on a daily basis is even more magical. Our work in Chicago is not finished. There are approximately 100,000 children who are eligible that we do not yet serve. So if you are so moved, please consider making a gift to help us close that gap. There are donation envelopes on the tables. There are QR codes in your programs. And our newest annual giving society, the Giving Tree Society, was launched this fall with the beautiful art installation that's out in our Welcome Center. Together, as the Long Snappers for Literacy, we can help increase book ownership for children and share the opportunities and the inspiration that go along with that. Thank you again. Good night.